The news of Ambassador Ethan Cole's assassination spread across Earth like wildfire. The Galactic Empire's refusal to provide accountability or even acknowledge wrongdoing only added fuel to the flames. In a hastily called emergency session of the United Earth Council, humanity made a decision that would forever alter its destiny. War. Admiral Elena Vega stood at the heart of the council chamber, her uniform pristine and her voice steady despite the chaos swirling around her. "The Empire thinks us weak, disorganized," she declared. "But they underestimate us. They believe their centuries of dominance will shield them from retribution. They are wrong." The room erupted in applause, though tension hung heavy in the air. Humanity's forces were young and untested compared to the Empire's ancient fleets. But Earth's leaders knew that inaction would only embolden their oppressors. The decision was unanimous. Humanity would fight no matter the cost. In the sprawling command center of Luna Base, humanity's largest military installation, Admiral Vega convened her war council. Surrounding her were holographic displays of Earth's hastily mobilized fleets. Though small in number, they were composed of humanity's best. Experimental warships, cutting-edge drones, and crews brimming with determination. "We have one advantage," Vega began, gesturing to the strategic map. "The Empire believes we lack the resolve to strike first. They've spread their fleets thin, policing their vast territories. That gives us an opportunity to hit them where they least expect it." Commander Marcus Haynes, a seasoned veteran with a gruff demeanor, leaned forward. "A direct assault, then? Risky, but it might buy us time to rally more forces." "Not just any assault," Vega replied. "We target the Severin outpost. It's small, lightly defended, but strategically vital for their supply routes. If we take it, we not only gain a foothold but send a message. Humanity will not be ignored." 3 days later, the United Earth Fleet, UEF, launched its first military operation in space. Commander Haynes stood on the bridge of the Resolute, the flagship of the assault fleet. Around him, the crew worked with a mixture of nervous energy and quiet determination. "All systems green," reported Lieutenant Adrian Wu, the ship's tactical officer. "Fleet formation holding steady." Haynes nodded. "Good. We can't afford mistakes." He activated the comm system, his voice echoing across the fleet. "Listen up. I won't lie to you, this isn't going to be easy. The Empire's forces are stronger and more experienced. But they don't know us. They don't know what humanity can do when pushed to the brink. Today we show them." The fleet emerged from hyperspace near Severin Outpost, their sleek ships gliding into formation. The outpost, a modest station orbiting a barren moon, was defended by a handful of Empire frigates. The station's commander, an aloof reptilian officer named Vorthak, dismissed the incoming humans as a minor nuisance. "Primitive fools," Vorthak sneered as he ordered his ships to intercept. "They'll break like glass." But the humans were anything but fragile. As the Empire frigates closed in, the UEF deployed an unorthodox tactic. A swarm of autonomous drones, outfitted with EMP devices, darted toward the enemy ships. The Empire's crews, unused to such unpredictable strategies, struggled to adapt. "Drone strike successful," Wu reported. 2 enemy frigates disabled. Remaining forces retreating toward the station. "Press the attack," Haynes ordered, his voice firm. "We're not leaving until that station is ours." The battle raged on, with the Resolute leading the charge. Despite their inexperience, the human crews fought with ingenuity and grit. They exploited every weakness, using precise strikes and coordinated maneuvers to outmatch their foes. When the station's defenses faltered, Haynes gave the final order. "Boarding teams, go." Inside the Severin outpost, chaos reigned. Human Marines stormed the corridors, their exosuits gleaming under the station's flickering lights. They encountered fierce resistance, but their resolve never wavered. Among them was Sergeant Elias Novak, who led his squad with unrelenting focus. "For Earth," Novak bellowed as his team breached the command center. The Empire's officers, caught off guard by humanity's ferocity, surrendered one by one. Vorthak, defiant to the end, tried to rally his troops but was silenced by a precise shot from Novak's rifle. As the UEF forces secured the station, Commander Haynes received the final report. "Severin outpost is ours, sir," Wu said, her voice tinged with exhaustion. "Casualties were heavy, but we did it." Haynes allowed himself a brief moment of relief. "Well done, everyone. Today we took the first step. The Empire wanted to see what humanity is capable." The Galactic Empire's response was swift and brutal. The victory at Severin Outpost, while a triumph for humanity, had infuriated the Empire's high command. To them, humanity's audacity to strike against a galactic superpower was an insult that demanded retribution. The Emperor himself issued an edict. Humanity would be punished so thoroughly that no other species would dare to follow their example. In orbit over Europa Station, one of humanity's largest colonies, the night sky lit up with fire as the Empire's fleet emerged from hyperspace. Towering capital ships, bristling with advanced weaponry, dwarfed the colony's modest defenses. Admiral Zorith, a seasoned Empire commander, regarded the human forces with disdain as he stood on the bridge of his flagship, Vengeance Ascendant. "These primitives will serve as a lesson," Zorith growled, his clawed hand tightening around the hilt of his ceremonial blade. "Target their cities first. Break their spirit before we annihilate their fleet." The Empire's assault began with devastating orbital bombardments. Massive energy lances rained down on Europa Station's surface, obliterating entire districts in seconds. Panic spread among the colonists as alarms blared and emergency shuttles scrambled to evacuate as many civilians as possible. The UEF's defense fleet, though outnumbered and outgunned, moved to intercept. On board the Resolute, Commander Marcus Haynes watched the destruction unfold on the tactical display. His jaw clenched as reports of civilian casualties poured in. "Damn it," he muttered, slamming his fist on the console. "We can't let them wipe us out like this." Lieutenant Wu turned to him, her voice steady despite the chaos. "Orders, sir." Haynes took a deep breath. "Send the fleet into Formation Gamma 2. We hit them hard and fast. Focus on their smaller ships. If we can disrupt their coordination, we might have a chance." The human fleet moved into action, executing precise hit-and-run maneuvers against the Empire's frigates. The UEF relied on its ingenuity, deploying EMP drones and decoy vessels to confuse the enemy. But for every Empire ship they destroyed, two more seemed to take its place. The Resolute shook violently as enemy fire grazed its hull. "Shields at 40%, Wu reported. "We can't hold out much longer." Haynes gritted his teeth. "We don't need to win. We just need to buy time for the evacuation." On the surface of Europa Station, Sergeant Elias Novak and his squad worked tirelessly to escort civilians to safety. The ground shook with every orbital strike, and the air was thick with smoke and ash. Novak barked orders as his team held off advancing Empire troops. Despite their superior firepower, the human Marines fought with a tenacity that surprised even their enemies. "Keep moving," Novak shouted, covering a group of children as they boarded a shuttle. "We'll hold the line." As the last of the evacuation shuttles took off, Novak's squad was overrun. The sergeant made his final stand, taking down as many enemy soldiers as he could before being struck down. His sacrifice allowed hundreds of lives to escape the slaughter. By the time the battle ended, Europa Station was in ruins. The Empire claimed victory, but it came at a cost. Humanity had fought harder and inflicted more damage than the Empire had anticipated. Admiral Zorith stared at the wreckage from his flagship, his expression unreadable. "Prepare the fleet." The destruction of Europa Station weighed heavily on humanity's collective spirit, but it also steeled their determination. As Earth mourned its dead, Admiral Elena Vega knew that humanity couldn't win this war alone. The Galactic Empire's resources were vast, its fleets seemingly endless. If humanity was to survive, they needed allies, desperate and hidden though they may be. In the dimly lit war room of Luna Base, Vega studied a star chart highlighting the vast expanse of the Galactic Empire. Marked on the map were systems known to harbor rebel factions, species subjugated by the Empire but still defiant in their hearts. "We can't fight the Empire head-on," Vega said to her assembled officers. But there are others who hate them as much as we do. If we unite with them, we might turn this war into a rebellion. Commander Marcus Haynes, his uniform still scorched from the battle over Europa, nodded. But how do we even reach them? The Empire's patrols will spot us long before we make contact. Not all of them, Vega replied, gesturing to a particular star system. The Signari. They've been in hiding for decades, but our intelligence suggests they still operate out of the Ishar Nebula. If we can find them, we might gain a valuable ally. The Signari were a race of highly intelligent, insectoid beings who had once been a proud and independent civilization. The Empire had crushed their fleets and scattered their survivors, forcing them into exile. Their expertise in guerrilla warfare had become the stuff of legend, whispered about in the corners of the galaxy. A stealth cruiser, the Vanguard, slipped into the swirling mists of the Ishar Nebula, its crew tense but resolute. Vega herself led the mission, unwilling to delegate such a critical operation. With her were Haynes and a hand-picked team of diplomats and Marines. The Vanguard was equipped with advanced cloaking technology, but the nebula's interference made navigation treacherous. Scanners are picking up faint energy signatures, reported Lieutenant Adrian Wu, now part of Vega's team. Could be Signari ships or an Empire ambush. Maintain course, Vega said firmly. We didn't come all this way to turn back. As they ventured deeper into the nebula, the Vanguard was suddenly surrounded by sleek, organic-looking vessels. The Signari had found them first. From the lead ship, a message crackled through the comms in a series of clicks and hisses, translated into halting galactic standard. Humans, why have you come to our sanctuary? Vega stepped forward, her voice calm but commanding. We come seeking an alliance. The Empire threatens us all, but together, we can fight back. For a tense moment, there was silence. Then the Signari responded, their leader's voice sharper now. Your kind brings destruction wherever you tread. Why should we trust you? Because we have no choice, Vega replied. Neither do you. If humanity falls, the Empire will turn its gaze back to you. Help us and we can end their tyranny, for both our species. After hours of tense negotiations, the Signari finally agreed to a tentative alliance. Their leader, Chancellor Vri, stepped onto the Vanguard, his segmented form towering over the humans. We will aid you, he said. But know this, failure is not an option. If we rise against the Empire, we must win. The alliance was fragile, built on necessity rather than trust. But it was a start. As the Vanguard returned to Luna Base, Vega felt a flicker of hope. Humanity was no longer alone. With the Signari's expertise in ambush tactics and their intimate knowledge of the Empire's weaknesses, the scales had begun to tip. Back on Earth, whispers of rebellion spread like wildfire. Other species, long silent under the Empire's rule, began to take notice. The humans and Signari had planted the first seeds of a coalition. As Vega addressed the UEF's commanders, her words rang with conviction. The Empire sought to divide us, to keep us weak and isolated. But they've underestimated the power of unity. This war is far from over, but today we take another step toward freedom. For all of us, across the galaxy, the first sparks of rebellion began to flicker in the shadows. The fragile alliance with the Signari was humanity's first step toward turning the tide of war. But alliances alone would not win battles. Action was needed. Admiral Vega, alongside Chancellor Vri, laid out a bold plan to strike a key Imperial supply hub deep within their territory. If successful, the raid would cripple the Empire's logistics and inspire other oppressed species to rise up. The target was an orbital station known as Calathar Prime, a vital node in the Empire's supply chain. Its massive storage docks held weapons, fuel, and provisions destined for Imperial fleets across the galaxy. Destroying it would force the Empire to spread its forces thinner, buying humanity and its allies precious time. Vega and Vri addressed a combined task force of UEF soldiers and Signari guerrillas aboard the Resolute. The humans and insectoid warriors stood side by side, their differences stark but their goal shared. "Our mission is clear," Vega began, her voice steady. "This station represents the Empire's grip on the galaxy. If we sever that grip, we weaken their hold, not just on us, but on everyone who suffers under their rule." Vria's multifaceted eyes scanned the room as he spoke in his harsh, clicking tone, translated by his helmet. "The Signari have fought the Empire before. We know their strength, but we also know their flaws. Unity is their greatest fear. Today, we show them that fear is justified." The task force cheered, a mix of human voices and Signari hisses blending into a defiant roar. The assault on Calathar Prime began with coordinated precision. Using the Signari's expertise in stealth, the Allied fleet bypassed the Empire's outer patrols, emerging suddenly from hyperspace near the station. The Empire was caught off guard, its defensive fleet scrambling to respond. "Focus fire on the orbital defenses," Vega commanded from the bridge of the Resolute. "Ground teams, prepare for insertion." As the fleet exchanged blistering volleys with the station's defenders, dropships carrying human marines and Signari infiltrators descended to the surface. Among them was Commander Marcus Haynes, leading a strike team tasked with planting charges on the station's reactors. Inside the station, chaos reigned. The combined human and Signari forces fought their way through heavily armed Imperial troops. The Signari's natural,